Thank you so much for stopping into my little corner of the web. I'm just going to slide back a little bit. That's a little better. And I hope you all are having a great day or evening wherever you are. So, this is going to be part of a series. I'm going to do a series on my chronic illness, which is fibromyalgia with a side of chronic fatigue syndrome. I'm going to discuss all the things that I have learned on this journey. And this video is going to first kind of discuss my diagnosis, how long it took, as well as what fibromyalgia is if you're not familiar. And then some tips for you if you suspect you have fibromyalgia, what you can do to get a doctor that hears you, refers you properly if you need a referral, or that can assist you on your wellness path. So, first things first, I've had symptoms of fibromyalgia for nearly 10 years, though I've only been diagnosed for almost 2. The years prior, I'd gone to different specialists. I had one primary care physician who ended up leaving the medical field, but before she left, she was fantastic. She absolutely believed that something was going on with me, that it wasn't in my head, and she was wonderful. But she referred me to a rheumatologist who did not think there was anything wrong with me because they are trained as a profession. Rheumatologists are trained mostly to interpret test results, pointing them in the direction of an autoimmune condition. That's what they specialize in. So if your test results come back fine, but you have these symptoms, they're inclined to kind of tell you, you might be just under stress. You kind of have to come in hand saying, I think I have fibromyalgia, for them to hear you. And unfortunately, there are still some medical professionals that do not believe fibromyalgia exists. So there's a problem right there. But in any case, the latter half of 2018, I felt awful. Couldn't get out of bed. I couldn't write like I used to with my hands because I had severe pain. I went to the emergency room several times. I had strange test results, nothing consistently saying an autoimmune condition because, of course, fibromyalgia is not an autoimmune condition. But it was a frustrating process. And finally, I contacted a rheumatologist's office directly. I have a PPO, so I did not need a referral. My type of insurance doesn't require referrals. So I called the office directly. They scheduled an appointment for me. I went in, they did the blood work, and they confirmed, yes, you have fibromyalgia by process of elimination. Now, my primary care physician that I was going to at the time of my diagnosis also thought it was just stress. And when I came back to her office and told her it was not just stress, it was actually this condition, she was surprised, which I find strange because I'd been telling her the symptoms for years. And not only had I told her the symptoms for years, but according to her bio on different medical review websites, she's supposed to be an expert in fibromyalgia and chronic fatigue syndrome. Yet I went to her for years and wasn't diagnosed. So, in any case, I eventually replaced her with a different medical provider who has been an absolute dream to work with. He and his team are fantastic. And I still go to my rheumatologist. I've added a neurologist to my team who has been wonderful. And all of these people come together for my wellness. Now, let me tell you a little bit about fibromyalgia, what it does. It's a central nervous system disorder. Your brain does not read stimuli like it should. So if someone lightly touches on your body, it may read as far more painful than it actually is. You have symptoms that make you feel like you are catching the worst flu ever, but you don't have the flu virus. You simply have this condition and you live with these symptoms day in and day out. Many people have far worse symptoms than I do. One of the worst things by far for me has been the brain fog, not being able to think clearly sometimes, being a little disoriented, a little confused, and of course the oversleeping. I sleep so much because I'm constantly tired, and not having refreshing rest is very stressful. So there are a lot of symptoms, though. I mean, I will put them all down into the description box because I literally lose count of the symptoms that I have, but I can give you the most common ones: headache, I have jaw ache, but I also have TMJ. So sometimes my jaw aches a bit. Muscle aches throughout the body, and temperature sensitivity, very sensitive to cold weather. So this time of year is not my favorite. And sometimes I have stomach issues. I do not have IBS, which is irritable bowel syndrome. I'm very thankful I've not been diagnosed with that, but I do notice sometimes I tend to be a little nauseous. That was another symptom that I'd had for years that just kind of came out of nowhere, but I'd had it during the time that I had these other fibro symptoms, and it's something that I never suffered with in years prior. Um, let's see, so nausea and sensitive stomach. I'm not sensitive to smells so much. I get very lightheaded easily, so I have to be careful. Even like taking a shower, I can't take a long shower. And if you're thinking, oh, maybe you need to turn down the temperature of the water's not blazing hot, but standing up for that long can make me very lightheaded. So I can't do that unless I have been up and moving during the day. But like to get just roll out of bed and hop straight into the shower, I will usually get lightheaded and faint. So there are a lot of little things that have to be managed with it. And I do take medication for it. The medication I don't find massively helpful, but I do appreciate the fact that it tends to make the symptoms I have more bearable. It doesn't take them away, but it seems to make them more bearable. Um, and I don't know why that is without the fact they don't, it doesn't feel like they go away. It doesn't feel like they reduce it significantly, but I think it mitigates it just enough to allow me to kind of push through a lot of times. But unfortunately, even pushing through isn't an option for me all the time. Like when I need to work is nearly impossible. I can't even think straight. I'm exhausted. I drift off all throughout the day. It's very unpredictable. It's frustrating. So that's that about my symptoms. Now, the last part of this is finding a care provider who can help you. So, first things first, make a list of your symptoms. You want to do this because you want to be clear when you go into the doctor's office what's going on with you. And when you make your list, if you can, write down how frequently you have these symptoms. Is it every day? Is it a couple times a week? Write them down. You don't have to keep a complete journal of it, but just jot them down because when you go into your doctor's office, you don't want any brain fog or just nervousness to kick in and you forget what you wanted to say. Second thing, pay attention to your doctor's reaction. Does your doctor immediately think of referring you to a specialist? That's a good sign that they believe you. Do they want to do a panel of blood work on you? That's also a pretty good sign that they believe you. You want a doctor that takes an action other than giving you generic advice that you've probably already tried, like relaxing and meditating and changing your diet and exercising, which are all fantastic things to do if you find the need, but they will not cure fibromyalgia. So if you have the condition, you want a doctor that immediately assesses that something may be wrong. And also, don't be afraid to use the word fibromyalgia in your doctor's appointments. Tell your doctor, I believe I have fibromyalgia. As a general rule, only specialists like neurologists and rheumatologists can do that diagnosis in a way that insurance recognizes it. But it doesn't hurt to get that initial diagnosis from your doctor as well, your regular doctor, that is. So, yes, first make your list of symptoms. Second, watch for your doctor's reaction. What are they willing to do now? Are they giving you generic advice or are they taking action to start getting something solid in place via blood work or through a referral to a specialist. Now, if you are getting those responses, either referrals or blood work requests, that's fantastic. And if your doctor, you go back and let's say they do the blood work and they say, oh, everything looks fine, it's probably just stress. That's not the doctor you want. You want a doctor that ask you not, oh, do you think it's stress? You're not a doctor. You're not there to diagnose yourself. You want a doctor that says, have you tried these things? Let them recommend some things to you. See if they're things you've tried, then tell them, yes, I've tried getting more rest. I've tried, reducing my stress levels and I'm still experiencing this symptom or that symptom. You want to have them give you recommendations for what you can do now to see if things will change. But if it's a rheumatologist, a neurologist, or a primary care physician, that any of those, you want them to always do blood work. If you've gotten a referral to the rheumatologist or neurologist, they need to be doing blood work. If your primary care is not referring you yet, he or she needs to do blood work. You need that initially. And then after the blood work, if everything comes back clear, you want them to go through some questions with you, things you've tried, and tell them if you suspect that this is still an issue. The trigger points or pressure points test that they used to use to determine fibromyalgia is not considered a reliable guide anymore, but your physician can still do it as a way to confirm further what the suspicious or what these suspected symptoms are. So you want them to check that, and then you want them to, of course, make recommendations for you, but they may offer you a prescription for a particular drug, but you want to know what is the drug for and are you diagnosing me? Let's say you go to these medical professionals and they have not done any of this satisfactorily. Get out your Google, search for best rheumatologists in your city, best neurologists in your city, or in the next largest city to you. If you live near a teaching college where they train doctors and different specialists in the medical profession, even better. Seek those people out, and then after you seek them out, make an appointment. Be willing to wait because you may have to wait a while, and then go to them. And don't be afraid to hop around. You may have to. It may be required that you check out several different specialists before you get a satisfactory answer, but it's so worth it because once you know what's going on with you, you can start treating it appropriately. So that's it for this video that went a lot longer than I had initially expected, but I will talk to you all soon, and I will do another video talking further about fibromyalgia and some other things that may be helpful regarding this illness. So until then, take care.